Yo, what is up gamers? Welcome back to Cold Diamond, the Gaming Rogue. Today, I want to make sure that you guys like the video, comment, and smash that subscribe button. Okay, maybe nobody's going to get this reference, it's kind of old, kind of obscure, and speaking of obscure stuff, today on Cold Diamond the Magic Rogue, whoa, look at that, we're going to be looking at some obscure techniques and methods to amplify tricks that you already know to the next level. Get it? Okay, whatever. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. Hello and welcome back to Cold Diamond the Magic Rogue, the YouTube channel where, because of COPPA, I am legally required to say at least one curse word per video, so fuck you. I'm sorry, but that's the law. Okay, so as magicians, we all think that we know every single little move under the sun, but what you don't know is that there are tons and tons of moves that are really obscure that you don't know about that you could be using that would really make your magic tricks pop. So today I'm going to be showing you 3 of those. Alright, the first method I'm about to show you, it's this method by which you can basically have the spectator shuffle the deck, and then immediately after, you ask them to name any 2 card values. That could mean 2 and 9 or 3 and 4 or whatever, and they can hold the deck, they can do whatever they want, and then you just snap your fingers and they go through the deck, and those 2 cards are right next to each other. Now the secret to this is that it actually works, surprisingly. It's actually a bit of chance. Once you remove the suits from the equation and just make it values, then it becomes 4 times more likely for each one. So there's a 1 in 13 chance that a 9 would be next to a 2, for example, but there's also a 1 in 13 chance that a 2 would be next to a 9, and so together that makes the odds even better. So you can have them name any 2 values, and chances are, if you look through it, those values will be next to each other. And if they aren't, you should have a backup. Now, I suggest that while looking through, you look out to see if maybe one of the cards is next to a card that's only 1 value away from the other value, or maybe there's 1 card in between the 2 that you can use as an excuse, saying, oh, well, that's really close, let's try it again, and maybe that time it'll work. As an example, let's say they wanted an 8 and a jack. I'm gonna shuffle the cards. Okay, and now I snap my fingers, and oh, there's a 9 and a jack, that's pretty close. 6 and a jack, and there we go. An 8 and a jack right there. And that was 1 take, didn't see any sleight of hand, and that's because there is no sleight of hand. So yeah, now it's up to you guys to dress that up, add your own kind of flavor to it, add your own presentation, and make it something really special. So I wanted there to be at least 1 trick in this video that didn't include cards, so this next trick is going to involve coins, and I'll show you that right now. Okay, so this next one is a coin through the table / just general coin vanish technique. Now you guys have probably seen many methods on having coins melt through the table like that, but you probably wouldn't be able to figure out that one as easily as the first one. Now this is using a very simple method. Now you probably know like 3 or 4 different ways of lapping coins, i.e. finding ways to vanish them by throwing them into your lap. Like right then I just slid it off the table and I don't have anything in my hand. And obviously you're going to want to disguise that by adding more emotions to it. But in this case, what you're going to do, you're going to place the coin in your hand, and you're going to want to have your hand on the table so that just like the ends of your fingers are over the table and your palm is over the edge. And then as you turn the coin over like that, I just dropped it. And the way, and some good technique behind it is you don't want to do that, because that's going to be kind of obvious to the spectators. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to close your hand as you do it, and just drop it as you're closing your hand. You want it to look, if I can find the coin, you want it to almost look like you're just doing that, you know, and that time I did actually have the coin. And the question is, did you see any difference between what I just did and the previous one? Because that time I don't have the coin. A lot of lapping techniques, you can kind of tell what's going on just because the technique looks almost smoother than a normal technique. Like you'll have things like that, which just looks really unnatural, or even the one I showed you before, which is a good lapping technique. It can sometimes be a little bit different than that, which, you know, you could solve that by doing that. But overall, I just like being able to show the coin is clearly in this hand before I do anything with it. Because if you show the coin as being definitely in this hand and then you bring this under here, then you just like that. That's insane. And I hope you guys use that to your full advantage. You can just use that as a coin through the table or just a general vanish. Though you are going to want to disguise the vanish a little bit. You don't want to go like that, because as cool as tempting as that is to just be able to close your fist and have it instantly vanish, the spectator is then going to kind of immediately like think, okay, well there's only one possible way you could do that, and that is by putting it in his lap. So that's probably how he did it. So what you're going to want to probably do is put it in this hand and maybe roll up your sleeves and pass it from hand to hand like that, just so that with the other hand motions, your audience thinks that in one of those other motions something happened. They're still fooled, but there's in their head, it's not just, oh, he definitely put that in his lap. They probably forgot about that a long time ago when they're just thinking about what you did after. Okay, the last thing I'm going to teach you guys today is called the free will principle. The free will principle is when you create a prediction that's just a little bit vague enough that it can be interpreted in multiple ways, meaning that there can be more of a free choice on the spectator because there can be multiple outcomes. Now, you've probably heard of similar ideas to this, like Magician's Choice, where you make it seem like there's a choice, but there's not really one at all. But this isn't like that, because it actually is a full-on choice by the spectator. And it's also not the multiple outs principle, wherein you have 3 possibilities, for example, for the spectator to choose, and you have 3 different predictions that are completely different from each other that you reveal depending on what they choose. This is where you have one prediction that's clearly stated at the beginning that they have a completely free choice over, and I'm going to show you an example of it right now. Okay, so this is just one example of how to use the free will principle. So let's say we start with the deck being shuffled. Now this is a classic trick. A lot of you probably know it, but I'm going to be adding the free will principle to it to make it better, right? So it's going to start off with the deck shuffled. They can shuffle it. They can touch the deck the whole time, as long as you find some way for them to spread the cards. Maybe you ask them to spread them out on the table and look at them and make sure it's all mixed up, something like that. And you just have to get a glimpse at the top 2 cards. So 7 of hearts, Queen of diamonds. Now my prediction is going to be, I have the 7 of hearts, you have the 7 of diamonds. Now it actually doesn't matter which order you do this in. I could put, I have Queen of diamonds and you have 7 of hearts, and it wouldn't make a difference. And you can make this, and really you kind of have to, in this example, make this right in front of them, but you obviously don't show them what it is. Once you have your prediction drawn, make sure they don't see it. You can fold it up and put it in plain view, somewhere that they can constantly be looking at it, because you don't have to touch it. Okay. So now this is the part you guys probably know. You can have them start dealing down the cards and tell them to stop whenever they want. And they don't have to just take off the top. They can take from the bottom and the middle, and they can take clumps of cards and all that. But just to stop whenever they want. And let's say they say stop there. And then you tell them to deal 2 piles with the cards. And what that does is it puts these 2 cards on top of each pile. Now, traditionally what would happen, you would have these flipped over, and then you would ask them to point to a pile. And now in this case we have 7 of hearts first. So if they point to 7 of hearts, you'd say, okay, that's going to be my pile, you can have this pile. And if they pointed to the Queen of Diamonds, you say, okay, you've chosen your pile, I have my pile. But in this version, you don't have to even see these cards. You can go, okay, which pile do you want? And they choose, let's say, this pile. Then you turn over the cards. And then, now, hopefully you remember the prediction. If you don't, that's okay. Now, on this prediction, it says, I have 7 of hearts, you have Queen of Diamonds. If you end up with the 7 of hearts, you reach for the note, and you go, and look, my prediction says, I have the 7 of hearts, you have the Queen of Diamonds. And that blows their mind. If it's reversed, if you have the Queen of Diamonds, and they have the 7 of hearts. Now, it's better if you can remember, but if you have to look, that's fine too. You tell them to pick up the note, you have them open it, and you have them read it out, and now suddenly they say, I have the 7 of hearts, you have the Queen of Diamonds, and no matter what, it's right. And there are many applications for this. This is just one of them. Do your best to come up with ideas, share them in the comments below, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Okay, that's it for this week, guys. I really hope you enjoyed that. I hope that this has inspired you to keep searching out there. Just because you feel like you've learned it all does not mean that you've learned it all. You guys liked my video a couple weeks ago, so I thought I'd make this as a bit of a response video to that. And I have an idea for 1 or 2 other videos in this same style, though next week's video will be a little different from this. Speaking of next week, I will be on vacation next week, but don't worry, there will be a video. So you have that to look forward to. So that's pretty much it, guys, and I'll see you all later. Cold Diamond, out.